is Isabel Wessler. I am currently a sophomore at Bloomsburg University studying political science. I have chosen to do my presentation on declining birth rates in developed countries and take a look at why they're declining and what is being done to rectify this. To start, birth rates are declining all over the globe. Some examples of where this is happening is the United States, the majority of Europe is affected, Russia, China, South Korea, but other developed countries are included as well. As you can see here on the right-hand side, there are more examples of countries that are being affected by the declining birth rates. Women now, on average, have one less child than they did in the 1990s. This has caused the global population prediction to need to be redone and updated. They did this, and now it is predicted that the global population will peak at 10.8 billion in the 2080s and then begin to drop. Although, if trends continue the way they are, this may come sooner than it is expected to be. Continuing on that point, as of 2021, about half of all countries are below the replacement rate of 2.1 children per woman, and if trends continue the way they are, by 2050, about 3/4 of the globe will be below population replacement rate at approximately 1.8 children per woman. And in countries such as South Korea and Serbia, the birth rates are less than 1.1 child per woman, which is alarmingly low and beginning to quickly affect society. That brings us to the question of why are birth rates declining? Well, the answer to that is a multitude of things. To start, women's equality has greatly impacted birth rates, as women are now expected to contribute to society in other ways than just childbirth. This has significantly eased pressure to find a partner and reproduce quickly, and allows couples to wait longer. Also, in developed countries, majority of women are in the workforce, which leaves minimal time for raising children and maintaining the traditional roles that women previously had. Another reason for a decrease in birth rates is the cost of living. The cost of living has significantly increased. Housing, groceries, childcare, and many other daily necessities have all increased in price, making it raising children far more expensive than it ever has been previously. Lastly, women in developed countries are also receiving a lot more education on reproduction and have very easy access to birth control and reproductive health care. This means there are far less accidental pregnancies than there were previously and encourages couples to wait longer to have children later in life. That brings us to the next question of why is this only affecting developed countries? Well, reproduction is affected by a multitude of things, such as a country's social structure, religion, and economic prosperity. Low-income countries tend to have a higher birth rate as women do not have access to education to learn about their bodies, they do not have access to contraceptives or healthcare that they need once they are pregnant. Developing countries also need children to help work and take care of their parents in old age as they do not have the resources to do these things without the next generation. These countries are very reliant on the next generation, which makes reproduction a necessary thing for all families. Lastly, in many countries in sub-Saharan Africa, birth rates are still very high at around 4 children per woman. As you can see here on the right-hand side, there is a map that shows where birth rates are the highest and where they are the lowest. The higher ones are in blue and the low ones are in red. So you could very clearly see where these trends are happening. The next question I would like to discuss is how will the decline in birth rates affect the future? Well, a decline in population will affect society in many ways, as the economy is not set up to be handling a shrinking population, but a growing one. And in the United States, it is predicted that the low birth rates will start to affect the population in approximately 5 to 6 years, but other countries are already experiencing this, so it may come sooner than we expect. For example, in some countries, such as Taiwan, they have already had to close down schools as there is not enough children to fill it and fill the classrooms. In others, specifically Greece, citizens are encouraged to work 6 days a week to keep up with demands, as there is not enough workers. Older citizens are aging out of the workforce, but there is not enough young people coming in to replace them. This is significantly disrupting the systems we have in place all over the globe. Unfortunately, this means products will become more expensive and taxes will increase to keep up with the cost of living. With fewer workers to keep up with demands, the cost of living will have to increase to support the population, as older people will not be able to work for themselves and there's not enough young people coming in. Lastly, what are countries doing to help the issue of declining birth rates globally? And many countries have begun to try to reverse the decline and support women and their fertility. For example, China has changed their one child limit to three, and they have also increased access to maternal health care while lowering access to abortion. This is to encourage women to seek health care during their pregnancies and keep their pregnancies and not abort the child. Another example is that Japanese politicians are racing to pass laws that support childcare, fertility treatments, and many other physical barriers that are causing people to not want to reproduce and have children. Lastly, many countries starting in Australia, but other countries such as Russia, Greece, Italy have all attempted to implement a baby bonus and encourage citizens to have children that way, which has had mixed reviews in Australia, but the other countries are implying it as well. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I hope that you enjoyed it. Here are my citations for the research that I did. Thank you.